Welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, 18-hour special initiative that celebrates the undying entrepreneurial spirit of micro, small and medium enterprises. On the show today, a special conversation with Mohandas Pai. And on Bright Sparks tonight, we feature Bluestone, an online jewelry store that has received backing from Ratan Tata, as well as myadvo.com, an online portal for those looking for legal assistance. So that's what we have in store for you tonight. Let's start off right away with our Insight conversation. Now, a lot of you write into us asking if there can and should be a separate framework, whether it's financial or legal, amongst others, for the MSME universe. I posed that question to Mohandas Pai, the former CFO of IT giant Infosys. He's now a venture capitalist, apart, of course, from being the head of Manipal Global Education. Here's what he had to say on that, as well as what it takes to be a disruptor in the MSME space. Take a listen. I want to start by talking to you really about what you think are the opportunities that exist right now for MSMEs.
I think the best period for India's growth is happening right now. We are a $2.2 trillion economy, and I believe by 2030, we could be between $8 to $10 trillion. So in all our long history, the highest rate of growth will happen in the next 15 years. And it will happen for various reasons. One, we have a high savings rate of 30-32% of GDP, so we can invest 35-36%. We have a very large entrepreneurial class. We have infrastructure which is improving, government policies which have become benign, and a government focused on growth. I think Modi has done a fantastic job in the last 2 years in many areas. And above all, we have a growing consumer class. 65% of growth will come from internal consumption and 35% will come from investments. In China, investment made up about 50% of the total growth, and the balance came from consumption, which is local, and also from exports. So our exports are not very large compared to our GDP. So I think the best period for growth for India is going to come in the next 15 years, and I think I'm very excited.
On Leaders of Tomorrow in ET Now, we have a call-in show, and most of the questions, almost 70-80% of the questions that come in, is how MSMEs, SMEs and entrepreneurs can really access funding better. You have spoken about SIDBI's scheme, you've spoken about the Mudra Bank, but is there a foolproof way in which these small companies can compete with the larger guys, whether it's with the banks, whether it's with the VCs, and at what stage of the life cycle should they be looking at each of these options?
Well, as far as tech, I'll start about tech startups and talk about the rest, okay? As far as tech startups are concerned, we have worked with the government to create a 10,000 crore India Aspiration Fund. 2,000 crores has been given to SIDBI, and SIDBI has already given away 1,500 crores, sanctioned 1,500 crores to about 28 funds at 15% of the funds. Now, means if 10,000 crores goes into maybe 200 funds or 150 funds at 15% of those funds have to raise 6.5 times. So 65,000 crores of money can go into tech startups in the next 5 years. That's an enormous pool of money. But 85% has to be raised. That's a challenge. So we got to see how people are going to raise, and maybe it will work out. But they started. Now that takes care of tech startups. Now as for other small companies are concerned, I believe like this India Aspiration Fund, we need a large equity fund. And I've been talking to Amitabh Kant of Niti Aayog to say, why don't you create a 10,000 crore India Aspiration Fund 2, and that will be for non-tech startups. If I'm a small MSME, go to a bank for a loan and take a loan of, let's say, 1 crore. The bank will give me 10 lakhs as preference share capital, equity in my company. But I must become a private limited company. They'll give it to me, and I must redeem it at, let's say, 7% coupon rate or 8% coupon rate after 10 years. And this money of 10 lakhs will come from a fund which the government sets up. The government will refinance, give it to the banks. So banks will give equity along with this. And the condition should be for every lakh of equity, there should be 2 jobs or 3 jobs created. So a job creation, they get equity, and if they have equity and the loan, the debt equity comes down, the borrowing capacity goes up, and I think it will work very well. The key is to pump equity into small MSMEs without the government having control over the company. So you should never give equity to government. But if you have preference share capital, which you can redeem after 10 years, which is not equity, quasi-equity, I think it will work. This kind of a large scheme is required because they suffer from lack of equity and it inhibits their growth. See, for them, equity comes from savings, some money they borrow from family which they don't have, and possibly internal accruals. In the beginning, internal accruals may not be sufficient. but they may not be very profitable. So we need some equity to come in. I think we need to do this. And the next thing possibly we must do is to foster the spirit of entrepreneurship amongst young people. Government, we need to have a fund which will give grants, 50,000, 1 lakh, 2 lakhs, 5 lakhs, in a very large way to anybody who goes to an incubator and wants to set up a small company in college. Sure. And that has to be very large. Spend 1,000, 2,000 crores, it doesn't matter. No, we spend 3 lakh, 6 lakh crores as subsidy in this country. 6 lakh crores, state and center. Spending 2,000, 3,000 crores to foster entrepreneurs, young people is no big deal. We must learn to be generous towards our young people, towards our youth, so they become entrepreneurs and they don't run around wasting time for money. So the grants have to be generous and they can be done in a proper process. If you do these three things, I think maybe 20-30% of the problems you can solve. And then the Mudra Bank is there, and I think it's a very good thing to pump money into that area.
You were also talking about small companies, MSMEs competing with the larger guys. But I want to talk about MSMEs competing amongst themselves. How much do you think, in your opinion, MSMEs should really mirror what their competition is doing? Or should they just continue focusing on their core business before they expand?
I think MSMEs should focus on becoming innovative and adding value. There's no point competing with somebody to lower prices. The world wants innovative products. The world wants high quality products. The world wants high quality services. Now, whatever you produce, is it a very new innovative product? Does it improve productivity of the users? Does it give you better customer service? If they focus on this, they will win. And the market is large enough for hundreds and thousands of MSMEs to exist. So I don't think going down the commodity cycle and pushing prices down can be the competitive advantage. The only competitive advantage in a very competitive economy in a globalized world is innovation, high quality products and services, and customer service.
Okay, I want to talk about one other challenge, which is essentially the regulatory framework. You spent a large part of your working career at a company which had to closely, of course, look at the regulatory framework. What advice would you have for MSMEs when it comes to really, dealing with the government and different agencies?
I would urge all MSMEs to come together and to work together to create a forum where they will put forth the regulatory challenges and ask the government to come down. Because everybody now recognizes the MSMEs are going to be the largest job creators, not the big companies. Big companies cannot create jobs. They're shedding jobs because of automation. MSMEs are going to create more jobs. And as job creators, they're entitled to a better treatment by the government. They should not have all these constraints. And more constraints means more government officials take rent seekers. The attitude today among government officials, largely, not everywhere, is to seek rent. And to oppose that, MSMEs should come together, write down and point out and lobby with the government to say, we want a freedom from all these constraints and we don't want these constraints, and this is what we'll do, and remove this barrier between us and what we have to comply. Now, compliance can be automated, right? So we got to do that, but they must get their voice heard. They must come together. They must spend 5-10% of their time working for improving the regulatory environment. They must go to Governor Rajan and say what they want, because he is your governor. They must go to government DIPP or Niti Aayog, Amitabh Kant, and tell them what they want. They must go to Nirmala Sitharaman and tell them what they want. They must go to Jaitley and Jayant Sinha, tell them what they want. They must go to Prime Minister Modi and tell them what they want, because he's our Prime Minister. We have a right to go to him. So they must get their voice together. And most of all, Sunanda, talk to you. Since you're doing this program, they must come on a program and say, these are the problems. And hopefully, some of these people are watching your program and they will wake up and possibly ease the process.
A last question. In these times of global volatility, what advice would you have for MSMEs to stay the course?
The best time to do business. When markets are volatile, markets change, there is rapid change, the big corporations who are very, can't move, or big elephants, they're not nimble. MSMEs are nimble. And if you are got your costs under control and you are very tight in your business, you'll do very well. You can beat everybody, right? But for all MSMEs, you must treat the globe as a marketplace. You must treat the entire globe as a stage. India is a $2 trillion economy. The world is $77 trillion. Now with e-commerce, with supply chain efficiencies, you can sell anywhere in the world. And look at the entire world and produce for the world. Don't produce only for India. If you produce for the world, you have a very large market to cater to. And even if it's not possible for you, dream of it. Work for it. Create a product which can be sold anywhere. Not some crappy thing just because there's some demand there or somebody is going to buy and put a chapa, do it. Create a great product and treat the world as a backyard. In Infosys, when you're very small, 5 million, 4 million, Murthy said, the world is my marketplace. If you only depend on India, we wouldn't have grown. Now it's a $40 billion value company, right? So all great companies are companies which are treated the world as a market, and I would urge them to do that too.
Let's take a break. On the other side, we'll bring you the stories of Bluestone as well as myadvo.com. Just stay tuned. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow. On Bright Sparks tonight, we're featuring two companies that are standouts in their space. On Bright Sparks tonight is a company whose jewellery Ratan Tata has taken a shine to. Started by Gaurav Singh Kushawa, it has over 3,000 customized designs in its kitty. It's now clocking an annual sales of upwards of 50 crores. ET Now's Polami Mukhopadhyay gets up close and personal with the company's founder to understand the success mantra of Bluestone. Take a look.
Headlining Indian e-commerce ventures are a thing of the past. All the success and failures boil down to one thing: bottom line numbers. The company that started in 2011 and has been steadily keeping its growth margins is Bengaluru-based jewellery brand Bluestone. With a firm focus on craftsmanship, quality and user data, Bluestone has launched over 4,000 unique designs through various collections. In the words of its founder Gaurav Singh Kushwaha, Bluestone aims to democratize the whole experience of jewellery buying for the masses.
Give us an idea about the different collections you offer on your website.
So we have a very contemporary take on design. So whereas the categories that we offer are age-old categories like pendants, earrings, rings, bangles, tanmanya, mangalsutra, what we make sure is the kind of design offerings that we are giving to the customers are very different from what they have been provided traditionally by most of the family jewelers. So what we bring is a design freshness to the same core product offerings. And then give a different spin to it altogether, and that's why people are so happy. The people who have bought from us are so happy with the kind of designs they have received.
So jewelry is essentially a product which deals with a lot of factors like design, fit, authenticity. Is it difficult for you to get your consumers online?
People know very little about jewelry as a category, and hence they are a lot more fearful of trying out any new party, be it a new offline player or be it a new online player also. So hence what we have done is we have always focused on dispensing more and more information about jewelry products to the end consumers. The more informed they are, the more comfortable they are buying it from a new person.
How is the pricing decided for the online jewelers, keeping in mind that you don't incur costs like retailing outlets, hiring manpower for the same?
The fundamental pricing strategy is same for online jewelers and offline jewelers, which essentially is the amount of gold used in that, the amount of diamond, the amount of gemstone that is used in that, and then depending on how complex the design is, there are certain making charges associated with that. Okay, and then some more margins so that you can cover up your operational costs. So now what happens is, because we are online only jewelers, there are certain overheads that we don't have, which is real estate, which is the cost of carrying so much inventory. So we don't have all those overheads, so we pass those benefits off to the customers. Hence, on an overall level, we would be slightly cheaper than what you would find in other offline stores. Also, another interesting thing is our entire thesis is built on a made-to-order model. So essentially, we don't have to carry inventory of hundreds of millions of dollars in order to provide you with reasonable design offerings.
Since you do not have any personal interaction with your consumer, how do you deliver the desired product for them?
Online is great when it comes to browsing the product, because browse experience is entirely missing in the offline world. Okay, you cannot go through some 2,000 rings before making or before zeroing in on those 5-6 that you actually like from those 2,000. At the same time, what we have seen is, because it's a high price point category, it's a category where a lot of trust is required. Some of the folks are not comfortable completing the process entirely online. So for them, what the offering that we have is, you browse as much as you want. You spend 15 days, 20 days, 25 days browsing the products on the website, browsing those beautiful designs on the website, and shortlisting those 5-10 that you want. Shortlist them, tell us, and we'll send someone to your house with those 5-10 designs and lot more allied products also. And then you can be lot more comfortable, you can feel lot more informed when making the final purchase decision. And this model is working wonderfully for us.
Bluestone offers various collections of designs for earrings, pendants, necklaces, rings, bangles, bracelets, nose pins and Mangal Sutras with a 30-day money-back promise to its customers. The brand has its own manufacturing units where designers sketch a product which is then made into a 3D model for craftsmen who formulates the product, polishes it and pushes it for certification.
So Bluestone jewelry is created by keeping focus on international trends and Indian trends. So whenever we design, we look at the fashion trends as well as jewelry trend globally. And while designing, we also look at the different age group. We design for the children, we design for the young couples, we design for the elders also.
Bluestone is one of the hand-picked startups in India to have received a strategic investment from none other than Ratan Tata. Earlier reports suggest that the company got $5 million from Assel Partners in Series A funding and an added amount of $10 million from Kalari Capital, Assel Partners and Sama Capital. With a strong code of social, environmental and ethics in trade, Bluestone has crafted itself as a benchmark for online jewelry businesses in India.
Myadvo.com is a legal tech startup which helps you find the right lawyer at the click of a button. Started by IT alumni, this online platform is a matchmaker between consumers who are looking for legal assistance as well as lawyers. It lists more than 500 lawyers and 40 boutique corporate firms on its website. Libza Manan has more on this story.
India's legal market, though one of the most profitable industries, is deemed as a mysterious market. This traditional space is dominated by opaque practices which makes any legal issue a nightmare for the layman. From finding a right lawyer to accessing information about a legal war, fighting a legal battle often becomes a daunting task. Exasperated with similar painstaking situations, two ex-IITians are on a mission to simplify this conservative space with their venture, Myadvo.
So how does Myadvo aims to disrupt the Indian legal market? What's the business model?
Quite simply, we are a legal concierge for anybody who needs legal advice. So if you're a corporate, if you're an individual who needs to, go to court for litigation or get drafting work done, anything in the legal space, we will help you make better legal choices by providing you relevant information on lawyers and law firms.
You have a non-lawyer background. When you started out, how difficult was it to convince lawyers about your idea?
Initially, of course, it was a challenge because we were outside the legal industry, and legal industry is a very close-knit industry. So not a lot of outside people are involved with the legal space. So initially, it was a challenge, but slowly and surely, when we spoke to a lot of lawyers, we spoke to a lot of clients who needed lawyers. We were able to explain to them what our value addition is and how we can help both the sides of the equation.
Today, what is the whole array of services that a consumer can offer on myadvo.in?
So it's the complete gambit under the legal space. So if you want to go to court for a litigation case, if you have a divorce issue, an immigration issue or a property issue, you can get a litigation lawyer through Myadvo. If it's simple drafting work like getting a contract done or getting a will or a rental agreement done, you can get that done as well. And for corporates, if you want corporate law firms on retainer, corporates need lawyers in small cities to manage their particular cases. So those are the kind of services that we give.
With the startup boom in India, there are a lot of legal issues that are not known to entrepreneurs entering this space. Would you like to highlight some of them?
A lot of startups start up, they make big promises to their employees, but eventually for whatever reasons, be it the business model or lack of funding or whatever reasons, though they are not able to continue. Apart from that, we're getting a lot of queries from patent and trademark issues. So because a lot of these startups start up, they rarely do the basic legal check of whether the name is already taken by somebody else, whether the tagline is already taken by somebody else. So these are the kind of issues also that we're getting.
What do you have to say about the current Indian legal market, and what are the areas that you wish to transform in this space with Myhabit?
It's at a very nascent stage. Even I think the legal, the top echelon of the legal industry has realized that fact, and slowly technology is coming in. So Myhabit wants to play its part, first by helping clients discover lawyers and legal services, and at the same time helping lawyers prepare their cases better, so that we can add value to both sides of the equation. Ultimate vision is, that currently justice is given in somewhere between 2 to 10 years. We want to play our part in bringing that down to a year.
Going forward, what's your vision for the brand? How do you plan to revamp the Indian legal market with Myhabit?
I think the vision, of course, is that we want to build a biggest lawyer client community, not just in India, but we have plans to do that in Southeast Asia as well, because there's very similar problems there as well. So that is our vision, that have a huge community of lawyers and clients who can interact and exchange information and thereby speed justice.
We are using both online and offline medium to market ourselves. We have put a lot of informational content on our website which is relevant for the user who has faced a legal situation. So whenever they search on Google, they get curated content from our website, and we rank higher on Google pages. And we are also using offline mediums such as promotional SMS and email campaigns to acquire our users.
Myhabit has an online lawyers directory which enables users to browse and find a lawyer suiting to their needs at the comfort of their home. This legal tech startup has also helped numerous corporates and MSMEs to overcome their legal issues and regain momentum in their business.
From my experience, I could do everything on 1/5 of the cost of what I would have incurred for a top tier law firm, and to a value of money like exceptionally from them. The quality of lawyers which I could get was exceptional. So this is how I got in touch with Myhabit, and Myhabit, I think, did a very good job.
I personally feel that this is the era, like with the startup era and all, the legal industry in India has not been able to keep up with the innovations. And there's much more space where that like softwares, databases, which are much more required, and they are not there. So this is one area which needs a lot of work, and I think a lot of companies are coming up, and I'm hoping that they might do well in this area.
With more than 700 clients in their kitty and a database that has close to 600 lawyers on board, Myhabit is working in this space to bring in more transparency and efficiency to provide a smooth lawyer-client interface.
With that, it's a wrap for tonight on this episode of Leaders of Tomorrow. We'd love to hear from you. Do write into us at leadersoftomorrow@timesgroup.com. You can reach us on social media using the hashtag LOT, or call us on the number flashing below on your screens. Thanks for watching.